Hi, my name is Eifler, and I'm proud to be a reading specialist right here at West High. Question: what's the expiration date on influence? I mean, sure, some of it's fleeting. It probably only lasts an hour or a day. But how long does it last? How long does it linger? What's the expiration date on influence? Or more specifically, what's the expiration date on a teacher's influence? Do you want to find out? Ladies and gentlemen, you've now arrived at the audience participation part of our program. Todd, can we have the house lights up for a minute? Thank you. All right, bear with me. Now, if you have ever positively been influenced by a teacher, think back, think way back. Would you please stand up and stay standing? Don't be shy, you need a stretch. Excellent. All right, stay standing. All right, here comes the hard one. If you have ever had a teacher who was not so positive, who ever embarrassed you, discounted you, made you feel in any way that you couldn't do it, or negatively impacted your life in some way, would you also stand up and stay standing? Good, good. All right, now here's where the experiment comes in. If you've been teaching 5 years or less, would you sit down? If you've been teaching 10 years or less, would you sit down? Are you watching this? All right, 15 years? 20 years? 25? Thank you. Thank you. Well, we've answered our question, didn't we? But we already knew the answer to that, right? I mean, it's part of the reason we became teachers in the first place, to positively influence students. But that's hard to remember on a day-to-day basis, right? We have some students who are chronically truant. We don't even know who they are. We have students who are painfully quiet, and sometimes we might overlook them. We have students who are passive or apathetic, oppositional, and worst of all, unmedicated. We have some students, however, that are so low we don't see a future for them. We have some students with such learning disabilities, we don't know how to help them. We have some students on our really bad days who just make us feel as if we are drowning in their need. It's hard to be positive all the time. But we can't ever forget our influence lasts a long time. Now, I know something about influence. You see, I wasn't supposed to go to college. In a family of 8 children and limited resources, your parents start to sort you into the haves and the have-nots. I was not encouraged. Not only that, but my school counselors never recommended college prep classes to me. I didn't even take the ACT. Wow, can you say low expectations? But I did go to college. However, it took me 3 tries to become a teacher. You see, the first time I lacked confidence and the resources to pay for the 5-year program in special education they were recommending to me. The second time, years later, I found myself unexpectedly pregnant. No, I was married. But I had horrible morning sickness and had to withdraw. The third time was the charm, but it was quite late in life. But isn't that like our students? Sometimes they lack confidence, sometimes they lack the resources, or life just gets in their way. So what kept me moving towards that goal through all of those years? I mean, I always meant to teach. Well, it was influence. I think it was 6th grade. Mrs. Woolgart accidentally let slip my IQ score. I didn't even know what it meant. But she said that number meant that I could go to college. It was the first time anybody had linked my name with college at a time when it didn't happen every day. That lingered with me. Teachers' influence lasts a long time. So I want to talk to you about a couple of rules of positively impacting your students. Number one, I want you to go back to your classroom and let's start looking at our students with fresh eyes. We tend to evaluate our students based on how they're doing in our class academically, sorting into the haves and have-nots. But an academic life, while important, is just one kind of life. Our students have an entire world outside our classroom. Let's take time to get to know them. You might have the student who's the kindest kid in the world right there, or the funniest, a brilliant musician, an amazing artist. Maybe they're just really good at puzzles, or if you're really lucky, that kid who's brilliant with IT. Yeah, we look for them, actually. Try and make a connection with them. They're desperately trying to connect with you, and once you do that, then you can start positively influencing your students. Rule number 2, please pay special attention to your lowest performing students. They need your influence most of all. Dr. David Satcher, former head of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, told the New York Times once that the violence, the substance abuse, and the teen pregnancy that we see in our schools isn't the problem. No. The problem is that young people who have no hope for a future will do anything. Try going back to your classroom and planting seeds for a future. Hey, you have an amazing voice. Have you ever thought about going into broadcasting? You are the most organized student I have ever had. You would make an amazing project manager, event planner. Let's go back and start planting seeds for some future for our low students, for all our students. And rule number 3, and here's a big one. If we have ever embarrassed our students, discounted our students, overlooked them, or in any way took away some of their dignity, let's apologize to them. And if they got in the way of a bad day of ours, and we did it in front of the whole class, let's apologize in front of the whole class. That'll do a lot to take away your negative, yeah. That'll do a lot to take away that negative influence. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I challenge you today to let's all go back to our classrooms and let's start looking at our students with fresh eyes. Let's start planting some seeds for some future hope. But most of all, let's never forget that influence will linger, it will echo and reverberate inside of our students for years to come. Your influence has no expiration date. Thank you.